Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and the upcoming MCU Fantastic Four debut is starting to come more and more in focus, with new speculative reports that Marvel's first family could come as soon as Ant-Man 3, and mystery details that we still have no explanation for after hours. That hopefully soon Jim and Movie Pam will explain. Now, the evidence for the Fantastic Four throughout the MCU is scattered like buckshot. Some of it wedged in past videos we've made on this channel over the past year, so I'm gonna do some ballistics forensics and yarn back all of these clues into this master theory for the Fantastic Four, Dr. Doom, and a revised MCU timeline. Spoiler warning in case any part of this ends up being right, because I have a feeling some James Gunn brand big chunks of it will be accurate. Let's rewind the clock 1 year. Kevin Feige confirmed at Comic-Con last year that despite the Fantastic Four not being announced for Phase 4, the title remains in development.
I didn't even have time to talk about the Fantastic Four.
Yes, you did. You totally had time. Take his hat. Now, this tease came hot on the heels of the biggest in-universe hint toward the Fantastic Four yet, the final moments of Spider-Man Far From Home, in which Peter Parker glided through the renovated Avengers Tower atrium, probably past Reed Richards, Ben Grimm, Sue Storm, I mean, we wouldn't be able to see her, and down to the street with a mysterious sign reading, "We can't wait to show you what comes next. 1, 2, 3, fantastic." And many of us immediately speculated that the new occupants of Avengers Tower, the ones who renovated it, are the Fantastic Four, and the tower is now the Baxter Building. But consider the possibility that the Fantastic Four are not the new tenants of that structure, but the original occupants, reclaiming it from a history that reaches back long before Anthony Stark signed the lease. Now, the new reports suggest that the Fantastic Four could be debuting in Ant-Man 3, a movie that will answer some of our unanswered questions about the quantum realm, like that city that's visible in the background, which I increasingly believe is the residence of Dr. Doom. Mostly because one of Doom's oldest battles with the Fantastic Four ended with Doom seemingly shrinking out of existence, and then revealed years later to have become the ruler of a subatomic hidden kingdom. Our most recent episode of Rogue Theory tied this to the mystery of Janet Van Dyne's never-explained survival. The possibility that Victor Von Doom could be puppeting Janet, controlling her telepathically the same way she controlled Scott Lang telepathically, so that she could escape the quantum realm and then return with Pym to free Doom, a theory that Tommy coined.
A villainous turn by Janet Van Dyne, or should I say Janet Von Doom. Keep the monogram. You do not have to change the initials. The towels remain. The bathrobe remains. The bowling ball remains, because JVD is still in business.
Now, Peyton Reed is returning to direct Ant-Man 3, and he revealed how long ago he pitched to Fox to direct a Fantastic Four movie set in the 1960s, as many people remember their retro, campy, classic run in the comics. But that period in the MCU is a very interesting experimental gap period that we know very little about, aside from some interesting traces. We know back in the 40s, figures like Howard Stark, Peggy Carter, working for the first-named Strategic Scientific Reserve, later reorganized as S.H.I.E.L.D., operated out of secret hidden labs all over the New York City area. And one of Howard Stark's innovations that he showed at the 1943 Stark Expo was Phineas Horton's Synthetic Man, an Easter egg in Captain America: The First Avenger, pointing to the early Marvel comics, the original Human Torch, who later, when that name went to Johnny Storm, was part of the Fantastic Four. Now, we also know that Hank Pym later joined Howard Stark as a S.H.I.E.L.D. scientist and operative in the 60s. We saw him in Endgame at Camp Lehigh in 1970, when Cap lied to him to get him out of the lab.
This is Captain Stevens from shipping. We have a package for you.
Oh, bring it up.
Well, that's the thing, sir, we can't. Sir, the box is glowing, and to be honest, some of our mail guys aren't feeling that great.
They didn't open it, did they?
Yeah, they did. You better get down here.
Excuse me, out of the way.
Hank sure is freaked the out. It's almost like something like this has happened before. A previous glow that affected some of Hank's colleagues in the years before this, in the 60s. Yes, I believe that there was another group of operatives during this period that we're about to learn about, and that one of these Strategic Scientific Reserve's hidden bases in the New York area was in Midtown, right near Grand Central, the Baxter Building. I mean, the MetLife building that it was based on was built in 1959. Why don't we clock it around there? Yes, in the 60s, my friends, while the rest of the Marvel world was sleeping in ice or not born yet, the Fantastic Four were in New York, experimenting with their buddy Hank Pym and 60s era Howard Stark, who I just assume is Roger Sterling, which might be why they cast him. Exactly the 60s retro Fantastic Four period piece that Peyton Reed envisioned. I assume with Austin Powers dancing interludes. But then the party ends, tragedy strikes. In the lab, a mysterious glow irradiates Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, Ben Grimm, and Victor Von Doom. These five fade from existence, and this is the moment Hank Pym discovers what caused this tech that he later renamed Pym particles. I know this is a lot to process, so let's shift gears to something smaller, more digestible, more compact, like the most discreet front pocket wallet, the Ridge! Thanks to The Ridge for sponsoring this episode. The Ridge helps you carry what you need every day, from their flagship Ridge wallet to their portable charging commuter backpack. They want to make the most out of what you're bringing with you. The Ridge wallet is made out of military-grade materials like titanium, carbon fiber. It has a clean, stylish look. It's chainsaw-proof, so when all those tiki-hating jerks come at you with chainsaws, their attacks will be not very effective. This is their aluminum tiki wallet. They do have other colors like matte cobalt blue or forged carbon fiber. All of them, they're light, they're strong, they're ready to party, but only with the minimal amount of cash that you brought with you, because you don't need to bring everything. They make it easy to buy with free shipping and free returns and a lifetime guarantee. It's got 30,000 five-star reviews, so you know they're doing something right. They also have great backpacks and travel bags with RFID blocking pockets and optional device charging batteries. Get 10% off today with free worldwide shipping and returns by going to ridge.com/newrockstars. That's ridge.com/newrockstars and use the code newrockstars. Find the link in the video's description. Okay, so obviously we know Hank's five friends wouldn't have disappeared, they just went down into the quantum realm. And yes, the quantum realm is the MCU's microverse, but Ant-Man and the Wasp also kind of gave it properties of the negative zone, the alternate dimension where the Fantastic Four and Doom get their powers. Just like the weird supernatural abilities Janet got from there.
There's so much we didn't know about this place, Henry. Worlds upon worlds, entire civilizations, far more than we ever theorized.
But that energy from your hands, how did you do that?
I'm not the same woman I was 30 years ago, Henry. This place, it changes you. I mean, adaptation is part of it, but some of it is evolution.
Now, would this mean the Fantastic Four that we see in the MCU are like super old if or when they arrive in Ant-Man 3? Well, no! And the reason for this lies in the confusion many of you continue to have about why Janet Van Dyne aged 30 years in the quantum realm while Scott Lang aged only 5 hours, despite being there for 5 years in our time. Time vortexes are separate things within the quantum realm. Scott went into a time vortex, Janet did not. She just stayed in the broader tier of the quantum realm in which time passes normally. That is why Janet warned Scott.
Don't get sucked into a time vortex. We won't be able to save you.
So Janet obviously didn't herself go into one of these time vortexes during her time in the quantum realm, yet she still knew about them, enough to caution others. How did she know? 20 years before Janet arrived in the quantum realm in the late 80s, there were 4 refugees to this realm who decided to venture even deeper into a time vortex, and poof, gone. A ghost story told to Janet by that quartet's leftover companion, Victor Von Doom. He stayed behind. He gained powers. He built a civilization, and now he has the partner of the man who exiled him there. He can use her to escape and seek his revenge. Now, I explained in a past video how MODOK and AIM could tie into Ant-Man 3 as the mysterious benefactor funding Sonny Birch, who's after Pym Tech, maybe with the MCU merging MODOK with the disembodied Zola AI. And maybe Zola MODOK could be Doom's contact on the surface, working with telepathically controlled Janet Von Doom to use Pym Tech to resurrect Dr. Doom from the quantum realm. Meanwhile, the Fantastic Four, Reed, Sue, Johnny, Ben, they spent a shorter amount of time in the quantum realm's energy field, but long enough to gain powers of elasticity, invisibility, rock flesh, combustion. But before they aged too much, they rode a time vortex to the future. Maybe latching on to one of the Avengers returning from the time heist, or to Thanos' forces when Nebula brought them from the past. Popping up on the surface on MCU 2023, this foursome reclaims their Midtown base and rejoins their old buddy Hank Pym and his partner Janet, all while fully unaware of the evil of their old colleague ready to rise and come back to haunt them when Victor and those who serve him make their move in Ant-Man 3. That, my friends, is how you get the still young and beautiful Jim and Movie Pam as Reed and Sue, with an older, creepier, more powerful, and yet still beautiful Christoph Waltz as Victor, I hope, in a post-Endgame Phase 4 dimension-hopping revised Manhattan skyline MCU. That was all in under 10 minutes. Feige, you had plenty of time. Join this nerdy theory discussion on our official Discord server by becoming a patron at patreon.com/newrockstars. Follow me on Instagram at EA Voss. Follow New Rockstars and subscribe for breakdowns of everything you love. Bye!